And welcome back to Hannity, and we continue with more of my interview with Donald Trump. Who were the people that you might be running against? You mentioned you like Mike Huckabee. You know the other candidates, Mitt Romney,
I sort of
Newt
like them all.
Gingrich.
You know, I have a problem. They've treated me so nicely. I have such a problem. Everyone said such nice things. I saw Santorum said something nice.
Newt Gingrich did. Sarah Palin did.
Newt Gingrich last month joined my club in Washington. A little before he heard about this, in all fairness. But I already have his money.
He said something nice about you in a speech this weekend.
Well, that's very nice. I mean, so I wish I didn't like him. Does that make sense to you?
Well, you're going to have to debate each other.
Nice things. I know. They're all saying these nice things about me. I have a hard time. So the truth is, I watched Paul Enti the other day. I don't know him, but he said these wonderful things about Donald Trump. And I can't now say, oh, gee, this and that.
Well, you're all...
The good news is I don't think Barack Obama is going to be saying nice things, and that's a positive.
No, I think that's obvious.
I think I'm a great negotiator. I think I will do a better job than anybody because I'm really a great negotiator. I know how to negotiate. I know how people are ripping us off. I know why they're ripping us off, and I know how to solve the problem. And as far as yesterday is concerned and what's going on over the last couple of days, the numbers aren't as bad as you're thinking. Because what's happening is if you take away $300 billion where China's ripping us, and you take away Colombia, and you take away virtually every nation in the world who's making a huge, let's use the word profit on the United States, when you start equalizing that, not even to make money off them, just to neutralize it, China shouldn't be making $300 billion on us this year.
How do you get to...
But therefore, the numbers aren't as bad as what you're seeing. In other words, that has a huge impact.
$14 trillion is a big nut headed towards $24 trillion.
No, it is. But we're losing so much money. Every country we deal with, virtually, we're losing money. In fact, when Japan had its horrible accident, they said to me, what do you think? I said, you know what? They've treated us like fools for many years, but still we should help them. Aren't I a nice guy?
You're a nice guy.
But they've treated us like fools for years and years and years. They've treated us like a bunch of dopes. But you know what?
But would you deal with entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid? I mean,
you have to deal with it.
Because
I do worry about, I have a lot of respect for Paul Ryan. I do worry that he's a little bit far out in front because the Democrats are going to take that Medicare word, that little word called Medicare, which to a lot of people means senior citizens, and they're going to take that word and they're going to say, oh, senior, senior, senior. And the Republicans have to be careful not to fall into a Democratic trap.
And that is that the trap is that they will be seen as being mean towards the elderly.
Towards seniors. And I will tell you, me, I'm protecting, I don't care what plan the Republicans put, I'm protecting the seniors. The seniors are, in a certain way, the heart of this country. And I'm protecting the seniors.
In other words,
but I can tell you...
But do we have to adjust? Look, discretionary spending is 12% of the budget. The real money,
it's not enough.
The trillions are in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. There's got to be some adjustment.
Things have to be done, but it has to be done with both parties together. It has to be done together. You can't have the Republicans get too far ahead of this issue.
So you would say...
Well, they're going to lose elections.
Yeah. Well,
hey, if I run, I don't want to lose this election because I can do a lot of things for this country, and I don't want to lose this election. And I just don't think that, again, Ryan's great, but I don't think he should get too far out in front of this issue because I know, you just said, I know Schumer, I know this, I know that. I know exactly what they're doing. They love having somebody even talk about the word Medicare.
Yeah, because then
they're going to then say, oh, they're going to cut Medicare. Even though these guys will end up doing it, you got an election to win. And I think the Republicans, frankly, are too far out ahead. You know, this debate is supposed to be led by a president. And
he punted.
You have to be very careful that the Republicans don't go too far out in front because they're going to lose a big election coming in 2012 if that happens.
But do you really think you can balance the budget? You become president. How long would it take you to balance the budget?
Well, it would make a huge amount of progress. And you would do some of this stuff, but it wouldn't be the kind of numbers. Look, we're losing so much money. And not only money. We're losing jobs. Don't forget, China is taking our jobs. They're not only taking our money, but they're taking our jobs. So we're losing money, we're taking jobs. Now that means the economy can never come back because the best thing for balancing the budget is to have a strong economy. And the economy can never come back if we're going to always have high unemployment.
Here we are. You've got a beautiful view of Central Park, and 9/11 happens here. Radical Islam. President, when he first got into office, went on an apology tour. America's arrogant. Okay. So the question is, do you think he understands the real dangers that led up to 9/11, 3,000 people killed right here in this city. And you recently spoke about the Quran. You said it gives you a negative vibe, and you got some criticism for it.
Well, I didn't see the criticism, but obviously there's something going on, because every time you turn on a television, 100 people are killed in a grocery store in Iraq.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, every day a bomb goes off, and I see the wounded, and I spend a lot of time with the wounded, the soldiers, our great soldiers, and they come back with a missing arm,
legs,
no legs, and for what? For what? Now, I will say this, and some people think it's harsh, and I think it's common sense, and a lot of people think it's great. When I first said it, which was 1 week ago, we go to Iraq, we spend $1.5 trillion, and our cities are dying all over the place. They don't have any money. We spend $1.5 trillion. Iraq has the second largest oil fields in the world, $15 trillion worth of oil, second to Saudi Arabia. We go over, we decapitate their armies. Their armies are wiped out. They have weak armies. It's a corrupt society anyway. I mean, it's totally corrupt what's going on over there. We then leave, and Iran, which has fought for years back and forth, because they were basically of equal strength. Well, now they're not. Iran will come in, and they'll take over Iraq within 2 seconds after we leave. They're gone. Forget it. It's not even a contest.
So
I hear, Sean, I hear they're already starting. I don't even think they have to fire a bullet, because, to be honest with you, I hear they're already making great political inroads in Iraq. So within about 2 minutes after we leave, Iran is going to come over, take over Iraq. That's one thing. But they're going to take the oil. So they're going to have the second best oil fields in the world, second biggest oil fields in the world, that we made possible with our soldiers, thousands of people dead, wounded, and 1.5, less importantly, $1.5 trillion. So I said very simply that if it's me, we take the oil. You know, in the old days, when you win a country, you win a country. Now, with our stupid people, we win a country, we lose money, we lose soldiers, we lose lives, and then we leave.
How about a minimum that they pay for their liberation?
Look,
at a minimum,
they pay us back the $1.5 trillion. That's at a minimum.
And a special budget edition of Media Mash is still to come. Brent Bozell is here for that. But next, Donald Trump sounds off on the Anointed One's relationship with Israel, the looming Iranian threat, and the role of religion in his life. And welcome back to Hannity. Here now is more of my interview with possible presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Iran, the nuclear threat is real. The way our relationship with Israel is strained, I think we're getting to a point where the Iranian nuclear facilities have got to be taken out at some point. Difficult job. If the Israelis, if you're president, the Israelis see the need that they've, for their national security, got to take it out, would you support them, and you think it's in our best geographic political interest to do so?
Well, first of all, I was the Grand Marshal of the Israeli Day Parade 10 years ago when, believe me, it was dangerous because there was a little war going on and a lot of problems. And I walked down Fifth Avenue, and Jewish friends of mine still remember that day. I have a park named after me in Israel that I donated. And I'm a big fan of Israel. I will say this. I don't understand. I have so many Jewish friends that are big Obama fans, and they're supporting Obama and giving tremendous amounts. Wealthy guys, live in New York, wealthy, hedge funds, real estate guys. They're supporting Obama.
Why?
Obama's terrible for Israel. He's terrible for Israel.
I agree.
You know, it's interesting with Obama, too. If you look at Wisconsin, he made a pledge that he was going to march in Wisconsin. He was going to put on his walking shoes and march with those teachers. Where is he? He's all talk. He's all talk. Unfortunately, he's also action, but it's always the wrong action.
All right, let's talk a little bit. You mentioned recently that you're a Christian, that you go to church. How important is your faith to Donald Trump?
Very important. I'm a Protestant. I'm a Presbyterian. Very important. I'm a believer. I'm also, you know, busy and probably busier than I should be. But I am a Christian. I'm Protestant. I'm Presbyterian.
Pro-life?
I'm pro-life.
Gay marriage? Where do you stand?
I'm against gay marriage. And, you know, not easy to do in New York, but I'm against. And I have changed views on different things over the years.
Like?
Well, like pro-life. I was always torn by it. I was always torn by it. I'm very much, to take the other extreme, very much in favor of the death penalty, especially for terrorists and especially for people that, you know, killers that you see so many with the girls that are being killed, and then they capture these guys I am so for the death penalty. And I think as far as terrorism is concerned, death penalty with a speedy trial. Look at this. Look at the guy that knocked down the World Trade Center. They're still negotiating where, I mean, last week I heard they're finally going to try him in a military camp. This is after years.
Military tribunal.
So he'll go for years and years, probably die of old age before they even try him. I'm for speedy but fair trials. Fair. But speedy trials. Speedy.
You support military tribunals over bringing him to New York?
Absolutely. I think it would have been a mistake. What's the purpose of bringing? First of all, what's the purpose of bringing him into New York? You'll have riots. You'll have this. You'll have that. You have the military. Our military is great. The other thing I'd do, I wouldn't cut the military. If anything, I'd increase the military. We would have, with me, the strongest. I hate when they say we're going to cut the military. Why? Because China's taking all our money? Because Colombia, little Colombia, they made $4 billion on us last year. Colombia in South America, fourth largest in South America. They made $4 billion.
Who are past presidents that you admire most?
Well, I really liked and knew a little bit Ronald Reagan, and I really liked him. You know, not only his policy, he's a smart guy, but so much smarter. You know, I always sort of have to laugh to myself when people try and criticize that level of intelligence. And I loved his style. I loved what he represented for I said, there's our president. I would see him sometimes. He once gave a speech, I think it was at the Lincoln Memorial, and he was dressed in a tuxedo, and I said, you know, there's something to that. There's our president. I thought he represented something very special for this country. And it was a much more special time. What I loved also about him, it was no games. When Jimmy Carter lost the hostages, when they were in Iran, they'd still be there. And Reagan said, essentially, they will be back the first day, or they will let go the next day.
They were afraid of him.
Because, as I say, it's the messenger. People say, what would you do to OPEC? There's plenty you do. They wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for us, okay? So they say, well, what would you do? It's the messenger. You know, I have business people that I deal with all the time. I can send one guy into a room and then another guy into the room, say the same thing. One guy comes back with the bacon, the other one doesn't, all the time. It's the messenger.
You would drill in Anwar? You'd drill in the 48 states?
Absolutely.
You would build nuclear facilities?
Absolutely.
You'd build refineries?
Now, I will tell you this. Nuclear, and I always say that you have to be a little bit flexible in life. You can't just say, boom. I'm a big driller, okay, and with care. You know, I've gotten many environmental awards. I build these great golf courses. I build great buildings. I get a lot of awards for what I do. So I know the environmental thing probably better than anybody. I also know it's carried to an extent that's absolutely insane. I mean, I've seen jobs stop that would have employed thousands of people, but they can't because there's a piece of grass that they found.
Oh, there's a turtle lake.
I have seen incredible developments with tremendous job-producing capabilities stopped many times because of swamp pink, a little piece of grass like this that doesn't even look good. Okay, I mean, I've seen things stopped environmentally that are absolutely, and I also know, see, I really play the game at a very high level. I have many environmental consultants, and when they come to me and tell me why we can't do something and why we have to do this and why we have to do that, and then they laugh, and I say, this is ridiculous. They say, yeah, but that's how we make our money. And they go up to Albany and they go to Washington and they make it impossible so that we have to hire them in order to get around all these rules and regulations. It's hurting our country. You go to China, they're filling in a section of the ocean to build a city. I say to the guys doing it, how long did it take you to get your environmental permits?
A week.
They don't even know what I'm talking about. They go, this is the ocean. You know, they're filling in a section a quarter of a mile by a quarter of a mile. Big.
And that to build the
and I
casinos?
say, in order to build other things, a lot of things, buildings, in order to build cities. But when I say, because we're so used to it. You know, if you drop a pebble into the Hudson River, you get the electric chair, okay? A pebble. So here they are filling in. You see thousands of trucks, just truck after truck. I mean, literally thousands. They have dump trucks lined up miles long, dumping, dumping, dumping. And we don't see that in this country.
I cut down a tree on my property, I got a $15,000 fine.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. But
you see this, and I say to these guys, how long did it take you to get these approvals? Because, you know, growing up in this country, they don't even know what I'm talking about. They said, Donald, it's the ocean. And they're right, it's a speck. It's so little you can't even see it from, you know, from our great space platforms that we used to have.
And coming up, the mainstream media goes under the microscope in this week's installment of Media Mash, a special budget edition. That's next. And tune in tomorrow night, part 2 of my interview with Donald Trump. We'll have much more, including his analysis of the mainstream media's response to the controversy surrounding the president's birth certificate. That and much more tomorrow night, part 2.